This post contains affiliate links to direct you to some of the products that our research has found to be most helpful to your horse riding activities. Your purchases will help us to diminish the costs that we incur in the process of building the site. This helps us be able to keep our site in operation. Beginning of Western-style horse riding. For more than 5,000 years, people have been fascinated with horses. They have been using them for work purposes and riding purposes for the main part of these thousands of years. So with this long-standing love affair with horse, you can correctly assume that children, as well as adults, have passions for horse riding. So let's look at how to ride a horse Western style. I believe in North America, Western style horse riding is more prevalent than English riding. A beginner must decide which style of riding to concentrate on learning at first. So does Western riding suit your needs better than English riding, or vice versa? In this article, you will learn beginning of Western style horse riding, how it starts many times. What is Western style horse riding? About riding a horse Western style. Getting more involved in Western style horseback riding, you should seek Western riding basic principles. Other things to know about Western style riding. Final advice. As I look at it, it's English riding versus Western riding from the beginning. For a child or a beginner, you will need to choose one style or the other. But here is a hint of wisdom some people apply to this decision. Since English riding is a bit more demanding, smaller saddle requires you give greater attention to what's going on. Some say start with English, then it will be easy to go to Western riding for you. How it starts many times. When it comes to riding horses, very young children will get their start by riding ponies at a county fair, and teens will become equestrians or equestrians as they get older. Then as adults, they will continue to enjoy riding horses for as long as they have the strength to ride. However, there is more to riding a horse than just mounting the animal and taking off, and people who seriously want to ride horses should learn proper methods. Thus, the beginner's guide to how to ride a horse Western style is necessary. What is Western style horse riding? There are two basic styles of riding a horse. As I mentioned earlier, they are the English style and the Western style. Probably one of the biggest difference being that Western style horse riding involves the use of different tack you use to ride the horse. In the Western style of horse riding, the saddle is much heavier and is made to spread the weight of the rider across a large portion of the horse's back. The larger saddle makes it more comfortable for the rider, especially those who are just learning to ride a horse. This is one of the larger appeals of Western style riding. Beginners just feel much more comfortable with a broader base, wider saddle. The horses in Western riding also go at a slower gait than you would with English style riding. So this again will make the beginner horse rider feel more in control while learning. About riding a horse Western style. When it comes to Western style horseback riding, there are a few basic things that beginners should be aware of, things that will make it easier for both the horse and the rider. It is essential to dress appropriately for horseback ridings, such as wearing jeans, comfortable layers of clothing, according to the weather, and the right kind of boots. The rider should ensure to decrease nervousness as much as possible before attempting to ride, as the horse will be able to sense it and think that there is a danger to be aware of. The ride will not go smoothly for either the horse or the rider if the horse senses danger. Getting more involved in Western-style horseback riding. A lot of people will go to what is known as a dude ranch when they want to learn to ride horseback, particularly Western style. There are a few Western riding basic principles that they will learn at such places, such as becoming familiar with how to hold the reins and how to direct the horse. Western-style riding lessons. For example, Western riders will hold the reins in one hand, usually the non-dominant hand, keeping the other hand free to do other things. In English-style riding, the rider uses both hands to hold the reins. You should seek Western riding basic principles. The research will take you past the broader general information about horse riding. Hopefully, we have given you even more reasons to pursue further your developing interest in Western-style horse riding. It all starts with the knowledge behind the basic Western riding principles. As with most things in life, to be successful at them, you must apply the basics to your goal. In this case, if you wish to learn to ride Western style, and you need to know Western riding basic principles. There is a very sound basic course called The Beginner's Guide to Horseback Riding, which you may purchase to give you those riding basics you need for the beginner horse enthusiast you know. There are several ways to go about this. I noticed in my recent searching, came across some must-have information that I believe will help you in getting yourself ready to ride a horse. Other things to know about Western-style riding. A rider should learn to use proper signals to direct the horse. This would be done by using the neck reins when wanting the horse to turn to the left or to the right. Learning the proper positioning of the legs and feet will also aid in instructing the horse what to do. Inexperienced riders are always moving their hands in their nervousness. These moving hands will generally confuse the horse, so learning to use the hands only when needed is important. So calm hands is the rule for safe Western-style riding. It is going to be important to know when to apply pressure to the horse as well. Final advice. There is much to be said about how to ride a horse Western style to get the maximum benefit of riding. The key thing to remember is that there is always more to learn. Know that you can always learn more about your horse and riding your horse. Another important point is to know that each horse is different and will have to be specifically trained to respond to the rider. Your training experiences should be supplemented. With today's technology, interested people can first go on YouTube or some other informative site to get basic learning about riding a horse Western style. Here are a couple of videos of ours for you to see to help out with your information base of horse riding skills. However, no amount of computer training will be enough. Interested parties must get into actual riding to learn how to ride a horse Western style. Find a ranch near you or individual that offers the training. The reality of actually riding the horse is the last thing. Maybe the detailed lessons at that point won't be necessary, but at least a real introduction to a real horse before you ride would be the smart thing to do. Happy trails to you, as Roy Rogers used to say back in the 1940s and 1950s.